World leaders began taking part in the 75th Annual UN General Assembly high-level debates Tuesday. Heads of state from around the globe sent in videos of physically gathering at the United Nations in New York due to the coronavirus pandemic. Donald Trump made the second address and quickly spoke of China and the COVID-19 pandemic.
75 years after the end of World War II and the founding of the United Nations, we are once again engaged in a great global struggle. We have waged a fierce battle against the invisible enemy, the China virus, which has claimed countless lives in 188 countries.
Chinese ambassador to the United Nations, Zhang Lijian, heard here through an interpreter, refuted the president's remarks.
Notwithstanding of political virus, China resolutely rejects the basic accusation against China.
Aired on Tuesday were Chinese President Xi Jinping, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and South Korean President Moon Jae-in. French President Emmanuel Macron, via this interpreter, used part of his time to discuss Iran and North Korea.
It is up to us to fulfill the 2015 agreement, first in time and over time, to make sure that Iran never has access to a nuclear weapon, but also to ensure that we bring a response to Iran's ballistic activities and also to destabilization in the region. Turning to North Korea now, we have supported efforts undertaken by the United States of America to allow commitment and undertaking of negotiations. Even if tangible results have not yet been achieved, the initiative is important. And what we're looking for now is specific of commitment and engagement by North Korea.
Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, through an interpreter, took issue with the current state that the 2015 nuclear deal is in.
They accuse us, without any foundation, of trying to build nuclear weapons. And they impose sanctions on others under the pretext of nuclear proliferation. This is while they have the infamy of being the sole user of atomic bombs in the history of humanity. And while the only possessor of nuclear weapons in West Asia is running the non-proliferation theater.
Those were all from the morning session, and additional remarks were given by leaders in the afternoon. Now, for more on the day's activities, I spoke with VOA UN correspondent Margaret Bashir.
So the UN General Assembly annual debate got underway on Tuesday, and we heard from some of the world's major powers, the United States, from Russia, from China, from France, 4 of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, all represented by their presidents. And this year the assembly is by video message because of the COVID pandemic, and the pandemic was certainly foremost in those leaders' minds. And we saw a lot of talk about how to contain the virus, but also there was a big focus on the race for the vaccine. And both President Trump said he feels there's a vaccine coming very soon in the United States. President Xi Jinping of China has said that they have several COVID-19 vaccines in active phase 3 clinical trials in their country. And President Putin touted the fact that Russia was the first country to register a vaccine against COVID in August. And he said that he would like to offer it to the United Nations to vaccinate their staff who are out in the field helping people. But I think it's important to note that international medical experts have been a bit skeptical about the Russian vaccine because it was approved when it hadn't even started these advanced phase 3 trials yet. So there's some question as to whether it's effective or safe. But this is very much on the top of the agenda of the major powers today at the UN.
Speaking of COVID-19, President Trump really has laid out his case that China is responsible for the worldwide pandemic. And we have heard some of the response from the UN ambassador from China saying that they reject that assertion. But since this is the General Assembly and everyone is sharing their thoughts, where does the world fall on that spectrum?
Well, I think the United States is certainly more vocal in pointing at the world China. We have heard it from some European leaders, but the rest of the world is a little more quiet about it. They don't, some countries, some European countries can't afford to aggravate either the United States or China because, they have dependent relationships with these two powers. So, but there was definitely, it was interesting because the messages were